We are children of God's sweet family, dwelling together in love and unity. Gospel students, fellowship, good success family. We have become a show to preach the gospel news. Oh, we are the children of God's sweet family, dwelling together.
Say good morning to everybody this morning. We want to thank God for the way He started with us since yesterday, and we believe that God is going to consolidate on things today, and we are going to be so blessed. Just as what Pastor Benga has rightly told us, we'll be having a two-talk show. Hello, I believe I'm on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. We'll be having two talk show this morning. The first one will be strictly on the issue that is ravaging the whole world right now, the coronavirus pandemic that has led Pastor Dr. Dilly Peter, a one-time national executive in GSF and currently a lecturer from the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. You are welcome, Dr. Dilly Peter.
Good morning, sir. Morning,
Good morning, sir. It's nice having you around this morning. And then the second speaker today is one of our very own, a one-time GSF president from FUTA. He just finished his postgraduate studies, and currently he is our resident pastor, the pastor in charge of our satellite campus fellowship in Akure. Please welcome with me Pastor Femi Adu. I believe Pastor Femi Adu is in the house right now.
Oh, yes, I am. Thank you.
Oh, good to have you in the house this morning. Good morning. God bless you powerfully. All right. The third person that we have in the house, in order to strike gender balance, we have one of our very own, currently one of our students in one of our campus, precisely FUTA. She is the financial secretary in Government Student Fellowship, FUTA. She too, she just came back from overseas in concluding our IT program. And I believe that the whole house will have a lot of experience to leverage on what is obtainable in the new normal. Please welcome with me, Sister Fanny Oluwalonimi. I believe Sister Fanny Oluwalonimi is in the house.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Oh, good morning, my sister. It's good to have you in the house this morning. God bless you.
Thank you,
without
sir.
wasting much of the time, because we have just about less than 20 minutes or thereabouts for this session. I want to ask, this new normal that everybody is shouting right now, everybody is talking about new normal all over the world. Please, can our distinguished guest ministers, can you tell us what brought about this new normal? What is the genesis of this new normal? Can I start briefly with Dr. Dilly Peter? In the next.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, I think I think we are behind the new normal. I mean, in other clients, they've been doing this before now.
Okay.
I think it's Corona that's now opened our eyes to the new normal. So I believe that we are actually, like I told my students, I said we are almost 100 years behind the new normal.
Almost 100 years behind. That's serious.
Because I at least I've been to Europe, and I understand some of these things. These guys have been into is long ago.
I see.
Long ago.
Okay, thank you for that brief shocker that you have just given to us. We'd like to listen to Pastor Femi Adu. What can you say about this new normal? How do we get to this new normal?
Thank you very much. Yes, we can talk about new because there once existed something called old. I mean, something called old was really available, and that's why you can talk about new. And for we as Nigerians, we as Christians, there's no gainsaying. This has come to stay. We've seen campuses now, education institutions seeing the need for creating a hybrid model of classes. Well, prior to this time, I would assure you that such was not really existing. at least not in a much more flowing way as it is currently. So what
Okay.
this we have now is opening our eyes to the benefits of ICT and tech in education, how we can, leverage on resources that's not within our grasp, for advancement. And just like Dr. Daly said, unfortunately, the country as a whole is a bit backward on that trend. But I think we are catching up, little by little. You and I are having this conference on Zoom. If that's not progress, then I don't know what that is. So
Okay.
that's my own thoughts about it.
Oh, thank you very much, Pastor Femi. At least that's a little bit encouraging. At least we can see a light ahead of the tunnel. Let us listen to the female in our midst and let us hear our own side of this new normal. Sister Fanny Oluwalonimi, can we have your thoughts on this new normal? How do we get to this level?
Yeah, new normal has been something that has been existing before, and I think as the others have rightly said, is this corona time that makes it. It was first of all used after the breakout of, I think, a few back in 2000 and something, because everything changed. People had to adapt to some new systems that has just been brought. So I think that's the genesis of new normal. It's just something new system, new way of things that just be brought in that will be caused by something, maybe a crisis, financial crisis, political, and other things. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Sister Oluwalonimi. Now, from what our distinguished guest ministers have just said, we have been made to know primarily that the advent of the coronavirus all over the world has engendered the new normal that we are talking about. And then from them, we have been made to understand that Nigeria as a country is far behind, because what we claim to be the new normal is something that has been in existence, all over the world. Dr. Dele Peter said we are 100 years far back. That's so disturbing. But thank God, Pastor Femi equally said that we are trying to pick up gradually. I would like to ask our discussants once again, please, how can you liken this experience of the new normal? What can you liken it to be? Is there any relevant experience between this new normal and the time you traveled out for your further studies? How can you liken it, comparable to what we have around? Let me start with Pastor Femi Adu.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I remember when I had the opportunity to leave the country for the first time for my master's degree in the United Kingdom. For me, that was a new normal. We are used to a certain way of doing things here back at home. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. I mean, for what we have and the resources we have, it was enough leverage for me to build on. But yeah, there were loads of shockers when I got there, from adjusting to the climate, from adjusting to the locals, from being up to date with what is being taught, over there, seeing how things are generally, understood and plays over there. I mean, these are some of those things. So they are actually new for me. So I would say, standing on such pedestal, that became a new normal for me. I mean, I'm using the word now, new normal in quotes now. That became my own new normal. And currently I'm living in such reality, not, even though the constraints of our environments are still there as at this time, but there was a new normal I met over there, and I've incorporated those things into my life. So right now when I teach, I try to, incorporate those things I've learned, while studying, and incorporate it into my lectures so that my students too can benefit a bit. My way of thinking has actually, improved based on that. So I stepped on a new normality or a new reality and made it my normal reality.
Okay, you stepped out from the new normal and make it your normal reality. Please, for our information, Pastor Femi is equally a lecturer in BCH as well. Thank you very much for that piece that you have just given to us. Dr. Dele Peter, how do you relate to the experience? What were the relevant experience between this new normal and the time you traveled out for your various studies and for your various research work. How were you able to cope with the new environment in terms of language? Because I know there was a time you went to China. How were you able, to cope with the language, accents, and social difference and association?
Well, I think my journey in the country actually really helped me. I was born and bred precisely in Maiduguri, so and
Okay.
I have related with people outside of my culture, so to say.
Okay.
So
Okay.
back in China, I just felt like it's like switching from Lagos to Maiduguri. So
Okay.
so I have to just adjust. I just
Okay.
have to just adjust because one of the things, for instance, their language, you have to go to market and you have to buy things, and somebody will be speaking Chinese to you, and the first thing you begin to think is, what are they saying?
You are in
But
the deep blue sea.
we have to get friends at all costs
Okay.
who help us in translation. And so, unlike my brother that
Okay.
went to the UK, I think he
Okay.
was on the silver side. But
On the
for us, we
silver
have to
side.
just go and learn language at all costs. At all costs.
Yeah, yeah,
At
yeah.
all
All right.
costs.
You have to rise up to the current challenge at all costs. Okay, let's hear from Sister Oluwalonimi. I understand when you went to Spain. Spain is not strictly an English country, English-speaking country. How were you able to cope with the environmental switch that you had in that place?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Okay, so Spain is not an English-speaking country at all. They don't speak English. They majorly communicate in Spanish. So even when we got there, we were not able to go out for some time because we didn't even see any translator. We don't know how to locate one.
Wow.
So we are always inside. We can't go to market to buy some things. So at the long run, we have to just use Google and try, and what we want to say, we type it into Google and we show it to them so that we can communicate. But at the long run, we learn their language ourselves through Google. And when we go to their school, they set up some Spanish classes for us, and through that
Okay.
we're able to pick up. And even getting there, I saw so many things that were different from here. Their culture, their way of life, everything is different. It was just like I was in a new environment. So that's like a new normal because I changed to a place where everything they do. Some things they do here that we actually count as something weird or odd or even disrespectful were done there like a normal thing. So we just have to cope and rise up to this situation. And even their way of learning, everything was just different. They don't really teach like that. People brought out their own laptop, their own phones, type. There's no need for books and then paper as we used to do here. So we just have to rise up. And getting here, I have to change in so many things. Like I learned to use technology very well to help in my studies. Go online, search for different people, different books, read more just on what I'm learning, my course of study, I mean. Thank you.
Oh, okay. From if I can get all our discussant very well, I discovered that there is no challenge that is coming that we cannot really find our root from. Either it is transcultural or technological variations, we can always find a way to adapt. Thank you very much. Let me quickly go back to Pastor Femi. Um, I want you. I want you to please help us. Tell the whole house, because I know that there will be a lot of our students who are looking forward to things like this, and then the fear of how they can cope could have even crippled some of them. Now, the method of teaching over there, talking about this new normal, leveraging on what Pastor Dr. Dele Peter said, that this is something they've been doing before. Now, those teaching methods, how effective were they? And considering we in Nigeria that we are adopting this new method, can we say we are being efficient? Can we say our new strategy is effective? What can you say? What advice can you give? What insight can we have? Did you get my question?
Yes, I do. I do.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
The thing is, thank you for the question. As much as I would like to think the question is straightforward, I beg to differ. It's not as straightforward as that. Because, like Dr. Daly Peter said, we are light years away from what's it's obtainable there. So no matter how much we want to integrate, the new normal and teaching and learning back home here, we would struggle a bit because they have, spent decades building, infrastructures, to sustain this time. Now I'm currently running a program and I'm doing it at the confines of my own house. And when the time permits, then I can go over there again. But how many of us, how many of our institutions here, especially the public ones, can actually do that? Unfortunately, I was still ranting to some of my friends that, we are keeping people hostage here. PhD students want to defend, you can't because you can't actually, there's no really online fora that has been developed to actually accommodate that. Master students at the verge of defense can't do that. They have to wait till there's on-site learning. I'm like, even the first week of the pandemic, when schools were switching from on-site to online, I had the opportunity of attending an online defense of a PhD student. And you know what? The good thing now is on-site learning will soon be back in some of those countries, but they're not doing away with online because they've seen the advantages of it. Now, so that begs the question in our own environment. Do you think we can easily patch this up, or we need to build from the scratch? Because it's not something you want to just, how many students can actually afford data? I mean, is there a social scheme to actually incorporate this into the budget? Are there allowances? It's amazing with how secondary schools are able to switch. And not, the truth is not everyone is rich over there. They are poor families. But the schools were able to provide palliatives in forms of educational materials, laptops, subscription for their own students. So they can, flow with the teaching style. But how can we do that? Is it possible here? So these are some of those things I think we need to incorporate. But in terms of personnel, I think there's really no difference. Let me be honest with you. Yes, in terms of their mode of teaching was really not new. It was just hands-on. Okay, I teach you A. You need to learn how to use A, and I know the equipment to use if I need to use A. So both the theoretical and the practical, flows together. The only difference here is we don't have much of the practical. But in terms of the theoretical, trust me, we are sound. We are not bad, and we are doing very fine. Only if we can have government funding, if we can have private partnerships, to invest in, the education sector, provide these hands-on learning tools, we will do amazingly fine. That's why when we Nigerians, we travel, we do very fine because we are grounded theoretically and we are hungry. So when we get there, we are seeing these hands-on tools to use. Boom. I mean, sorry to take your time on this. In my class, I was surprised when we got to some, aspects in molecular biology, because that's one of my specialties. I really performed very fine. And I thought the guys who were exposed to, theories and practical, hands-on. Yes, I was surprised I understood these things better. Why? Because my theoretical knowledge was sound. So it was not difficult for me to really adjust to using
to adapt to relate to the practicals. Oh, yes. Thank you very, 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 very much. Dr. Dele Peter, I would like you to, one of the things Pastor Femi said now, it's so disheartening that fundamental things are not in place, like structures, infrastructures, and as of the time we were being colonized, what is the way out for the younger generation? How do we go about all this?
Well, I pray God will help us as a nation. But like my brother said, those guys, I remember meeting a guy in 200 level in China.
Okay.
And the guy was handling virtually all the equipments in the lab. And I was there for PhD. And I have to follow him like, you understand what I'm talking about.
That's serious. That's serious.
And the guy was handling virtually everything. Maybe because everything was written in Chinese, or I don't know. But the guy was up and doing. You understand? That shows that they've been exposed to a lot of things. For instance, they have different universities. I think I saw a University of Music. I saw University of Physical Education and all the rest. So you can understand what the breakdown is going to look like. And I know there are going to be state-of-the-art facilities for all those things. So, like my brother said, sincerely yours, we are wonderful when it comes to theory. Wonderful. I mean, wonderful. I remember that I asked one of the Chinese guys a question, and the guy was just looking at me, maybe because he didn't understand English or thereabout. But the truth be said, that we are good theoretically, and if we have opportunity to have hands-on, I want to say that we are better off. Like my brother said, we are better off. God had really helped us, and I believe we can still do better. But our nation needs to invest in education. We are not a serious nation when it comes to investment in education. That's just the problem. I take students, I take them to the field. That's one thing I do. I don't just teach you theory. I take you to the field. For myself, it was at my postdoc level that I saw some of the things they taught me in secondary school.
Wow.
You're talking about leaching of soil nutrients. I never saw it in my life. First degree, second degree, third degree, I never saw it in my life. But when I was in Germany, I saw it live. How you see those nutrients leach and how you collect fluid to test for those things. And I was saying it, yes, people say it's not possible. And I told them one of these days, God willing, I am going to do it here. Because we have to just, the little we have gotten, we have to just give back to the system. That's just the way I think we can go forward.
Thank you very much,
we can't continue this way.
Okay.
We can't continue this way.
Thank you, Dr. Dile. It's just because we are running really, really ahead of our time. But you said something which is very, very noteworthy. The same thing Pastor Femi said. I believe strongly that there is hope for us. We shouldn't give up. We should be determined to look for a way out by every means possible. We don't have all the time, but let me quickly ask Sister Oluwalonimi, that as our students are preparing to resume, what practical advice can you give to our students all over the nation?
Yeah. Okay. So I believe as students are preparing to resume, and students should learn that, okay, now as the others have said, what we are majorly the major challenge in our education now is the practicals. Yes, we deal mostly with theoreticals, but as students, I believe we can still help ourselves. We can actually go wide, even if they are not giving us the practicals. We can actually go wide, read on our own. On anything we are taught, we can actually go to YouTube videos to watch some things just to improve ourselves on that thing. We can go wide, read wide, watch videos, and at least our lecturers there are still some of our lecturers that are approachable. There are some of them that have traveled out, and those are teaching us theoretically, they've seen it. You can actually go and meet them, talk to them, relate with them. You want to know more of this. And I believe some of them are willing to also help. They can actually show you, okay, I've seen this thing live, go to this site, you can see it, you can know how to do it, and some things like that. It's just about this Nigeria, nobody is ready to help another. We just have to help ourselves, improve ourselves, because the facilities are not there. The facilities are not there to help us. There are sometimes we want to do practicals, and even bringing out machines to do the practical is not working. And you will see that they only have one in the whole faculty. None of it is, and it's not working. So the practical will just be like, okay, we have to use what we have, and at the long run, what they have that they are using is, you don't know, you don't even know what they are doing. So we can actually help ourselves, as I've said, go to YouTube videos, watch videos. The lecturers that are approachable, then approach them, talk to them, and I think that's what we can do. It depends on our seriousness, on how inquisitive we are. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, my sister. The time is really, really running fast. But let me just ask these 2 rounds of questions, and I want us to quickly answer it, maybe in one minute, as the case may be. Dr. Dele Peter, I would like to ask you, some parts of the world believe that this COVID-19 is not real. And some other people are saying that it is real. Now that we are planning to resume, please, what advice can you give to our students? Is it actually real? If it is actually real and it's killing some people, what advice can you give? In 1 minute, please help us answer it. And then Pastor Femi too should do the same thing in 1 minute. Thank you.
I want to believe that anybody saying that COVID-19 is not real, I think should be living in Jupiter. Yeah, the person should not be here. That thing is real. And so we have all the protocols and cautions to take, and they're everywhere. And please, I will just advise our students, even we say we are planning to resume, I'm just laughing. Our auditoriums are very small. Auditoriums are supposed to take 500 students. You have 1,200 students in this auditorium, and you are talking about social distancing, and government is talking about students resuming. I think, like, I don't want to talk about my union, but like my union is saying, I think it's not feasible for now. But though COVID had come to stay, I know some of us do pray that COVID should go and all the rest like that. I wonder why we didn't pray out HIV, why we didn't pray out Ebola and others. But COVID had come to stay, but we just have to just help ourselves by getting ourselves used to all the protocols.
Okay, thank you very much. Pastor Femi, can we hear from you? Yeah, thank you.
Pastor Dele has actually said it all. Yeah, it's no longer news that this is real. So anybody who is not accepting the fact that it's real is still being delusioned. But there's no cause for alarm, I can assure you. The virus is actually very transmissible, but in terms of its virulence, it's reduced. It's not as bad as what happened in 2005, 2006, the flu then. So there's no cause for alarm. We just need to do what we need to do. Keep maintaining social distance, use protective personal equipment, and I'm sure we'll be fine. But schools resuming amidst this without proper planning, it still raises a lot of questions. And I, as a lecturer, I've been thinking within my head, what do I do? Do I divide my class? Do I schedule morning and evening? Because I'm not going to risk myself, put myself in danger just because I want to be delusioned and say, no, it's not that bad. No, it's bad. It's just we are very bad. What has really helped us.
Okay. Sister Toluanimi, please, as a mother, a feminine, a female personality, what practical precautions can you give to our students as we are planning to resume? I know mothers have their own way of doing things.
Yeah, okay. The normal thing, use of face mask, and we should always use our face mask anywhere we go to. Then the use of hand sanitizer. All these rules we should be able to follow it. We should follow all these rules as preventive measure. We are trying to prevent ourselves, and I know to be okay. Thank you.
And we should use them.
All right, thank you. Lastly, okay, we should use what?
The face masks and every other thing we should
use.
Okay,
face mask. We should make use of our face masks and the rest of things like that.
Remove it from your face, put it in your pockets. After exposing yourself to people, you take it back again. That is defeating the purpose. Yep.
Okay. That is defeating the purpose. Yeah, we should always, if you are using it, use it. Don't try to put it elsewhere. And the rest of things like that. All those precautionary measures are very, very important. But lastly, I want to ask, I know, Pastor Femi, you have been a president in one of our major campus. The same thing applies to Pastor Dele. You are a one-time president of GSF in Funab, one of the very big campus as well. How do we restore back church life? How do we encourage commitment on the part of our students in terms of generating finance to fund the work of God. The Bible says, through prosperity will my gospel be published. If the money is not flowing into the church, how are we going to do it? And many of our people, we are yet to understand how to transfer and say, okay, I'm paying my offering. I'm transferring into the account of the fellowship and rest of things. What advice can you give to us? Quickly, Pastor Femi.
All right, thank you. Yes, these are predictable times. But one thing I do believe, students are givers. Like, they give. But the thing is, how well have you communicated the vision? You know, you want someone to give to a work in which they don't own. So ownership is part of it. I remember when
Ownership.
we're trying to erect the roof, structures of the church. It was very glaring. Our brain was dealing with all of us, so there was no way to, say or run away. We are all under we were all drenched. And I said, in 2 weeks, we need to come up with #1 million. We have 500 on ground. We need 500. And in 2 weeks, we got the extra 500 from our contributions. So it's selling the church. People own it, and naturally, I feel it flows. It's not in the shop. I'm trying to,
thank you very much. Dr. Dele, let's hear from you.
Well, thank you very much. My brother actually said something. Students are givers, and we should know that they will continue to give. But one thing I want us to understand is, if you do not allow them to see the reason for a vision, you're likely not to get their support.
Okay.
Somebody once asked me, when you were president, why is it that you never complained that there was no money and all the rest like that? I said, one, you communicate your vision as a leader, and for sure, when they buy into your idea, the issue of money or they putting in money to that project will never be an issue, just like my brother had said. And the way students give is challenging. I have to be sincere with you. It's challenging. Even compare, I think at least for some years now, I've been in church, and I look at going back to fellowship sometimes, and we talk about money. I see that we have more givers, sorry to say, I miss the students than even in the church setting. And so I think you're good to go when we are ready to sell our visions to them rightly.
Okay.
Let them see that vision as theirs.
Okay.
I think it solves the problem.
All right. And lastly, this round, before I excuse our distinguished guest speakers, what advice do you want to give to us as we resume fellowship? When campus resume, definitely the fellowship will resume as well. Sister Lualonimi. Sister Lualonimi. Hello? Hello?
I don't think she's online.
Hello? Hello? Okay. Pastor Femi, please, over to you.
Yeah. Okay. Now resumptions are okay. Let me allow Sister Lemon to come. I think she's back online.
Okay. Sister Lualonimi.
Okay, so
Hello, dear sister?
since the school is now resuming,
okay, as it relates
hello,
to fellowship.
so the school, since this, okay, sir. So since the school will resume soon, and also fellowship will start, so I think our fellowship should put into consideration all these rules. Like our members should always follow the rules, the use of face mask and others, as they have said, the use of it properly. Then the use of washing of hands properly, the washing of hands regularly. The fellowship should be able to provide that too, at least where you can wash your hands before going into the church. Then the issue of social distancing, they should be able to do that too. We should be able to do that too. And we should always, because COVID-19 is real, as they've said, it's very real. And my mom has seen life cases, so it's real. So we should, as a fellowship, we should always try to tell our members that it is real. So we should, and they should follow the rules, because I've seen some people that still believe it's not real, it's real. So we should try as much as possible to follow the rules.
All
the use
right.
of
Thank.
social distancing, face mask, and all that. Thank you.
All right. Pastor Femi, how do you go about fellowship activities, evangelism, winning more souls to the kingdom, and at the same time considering this pandemic?
Yes, I mean, right. Just now, the government is talking about resumptions. As much as possible, leaders within fellowship should start meeting. Do not wait till when you get to school. I believe
Okay.
it is a bit specific. It's case by case. What happens in my fellowship and what happens in another fellowship, depending on space and distance. So leaders begin to meet, start strategizing. If you need to run two services, take outside the box, think something different. We don't have to, do the normal thing. If we have to cut down services to like an hour so we can run multiple services.
Sammy.
Yes, creates sales, creates, just, look at, think outside the box and do something unique and yet still retain the authenticity of fellowshipping.
All right. Thank you very much. Dr. Dele Peter.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, Dr. Dele Peter. We are resuming.
Yes, sir.
Evangelism, going about the kingdom's business, winning more so, interacting with people. What advice, safety tips that you want to give to our presidents, to our members on campus?
Well, I want to say majorly, like my brother said, I think we need to get multiple services.
Okay.
For instance, in my church here now, we run two services because we cannot come together and still have that social distancing. So we run two services. So by 7:30, the English service meets, and by 9 we are through. By 9:30, the Yoruba service meets, and by 11 they are through. So I don't think there's any big deal. The leaders can structure the fellowship very well. Where you have over 400 persons, and if you go by social distancing and it's just around 150, then you have to break the fellowship into almost three. So three services and all the rest. Like there's nothing too much with that. And I believe some people will even prefer to come for the last service. You understand, but there's a way you structure everything yourself.
Structure it so that there won't be disorganization.
Yes, I think it's better. Then in terms of evangelism, sincerely, yes, we need to go online. I have to be sincere with you.
Okay.
You see, sometimes you are watching YouTubes and all the rest. All of a sudden, you just see that there's an advert. So there's nothing wrong if we go that way. Because if people selling pornography, they can do that. I think we that have the gospel too can also do that. So there's nothing wrong with all those things. So that because this one-on-one thing, rural rugged and all the rest like that, this time it has to reduce.
Yeah.
So this physical thing on-site have to reduce. So you have to go online. And though we know that not everybody is online, so maybe one of these days we also go on radio and all the rest like that.
Okay. Thank you very much, our distinguished discussant today. Honestly, talking with you guys today has really, really blessed me, and I know that the people in the house they've been blessed as well. If there is anything that we need to do in a time like this, we need to take advantage of this new normal and use it to our own advantage. Do online evangelism, buy slots, do adverts, and the rest of things like that. Let us intensify on every effort. Then we don't need to be unnecessarily afraid. It's real, but there is a way out. Those are the things our discussants have told us today. They've even actually told us that we have the world ahead of us. We have advantage. We might not have it practically. We have it theoretically. So nothing should stop you if you are not afraid. So be ready to move all out and leverage on what our discussants have told us today. I want to especially, on behalf of the NCP, appreciate all our discussants today. I want to say that you've been so wonderful today, and may the Lord continue to bless you so powerfully. If not because of the time limit, we would have even done more. But I want to believe that one of these days, we'll still, invite you over and call you to discuss and rub minds together. Thank you so much for being part of today's show. God bless you powerfully. And to the whole house that has been part of this session, I want to say thank you so much. We love you. Take advantage of what that's been said, and I know that together we shall win. God God bless you.
Lift up holy hands.
Lift up holy hands. We worship to our King.
We lift up holy hands.
Lift up
Can we
holy
lift up holy
hands.
hands as we worship God? We lift up holy